Hi, today we're going to be talking about nylon monofilament spreaders for bottom fishing that we use here in Southeast Asia. Now, there are metal ones, but I've been told by anglers far better than myself that they do better on monofilament spreaders than on metal ones. Okay? They have many theories, but we don't know exactly why, but yeah, they do better on them. So we're going to be tying some of these up, okay? Now I have made some tweaks to the existing designs because I hate losing fish to tackle failures that are preventable, okay? So I'll be showing you some of these tweaks. So how do we begin? Well, we begin with a main leader line. In this case, I'm using 50-pound Sufix Superior. Okay, most guys use 60-pound no-name brands and stuff like that. 50, 60 pounds, as long as it's material, leader material, it's fine. As far as the stiffening line, I'll show you that in a second, but it's about half the poundage. Okay, so I start with basically from my fingertips to my neck, that length. Okay, and of that length, I begin tying in my swivel. Okay, the reason for the swivel is because if you don't use a swivel on these things, some of the existing designs, they don't use a swivel. They expect you to use they give you a loop to use. If you don't put a swivel in and your bait happens to spin, you end up with a bird's nest. It's not cool. How to catch fish like this, right? So, swivel, okay? And beyond that, I'm using to attach the swivel to this leader, I'm using the TN knot that we use in slow jigging. For those of you uninitiated, there are a lot of videos on this, but I'll run you through a basic gist of it, okay? Just a second. But let me get this started, just show you guys. So I have this length, okay? I'm gonna start swivel here. I'm gonna tie one here out of the leader material, and I'll tie one on with Dacron so you guys can see a clearer example of the knot. So the reason I use a TN knot is it goes through the eye of the swivel 3 times. Okay, there's once, twice. Let me pull that loop up. Okay, and then the third time. And you'll see why I'm using such a long tag end in just a second. Okay, tighten up this loop a little bit. There we go. Come around the main, pull this down. How it helps to have some tension here. I'll just hold that in my mouth. Oops. Okay, so that knot is cinched down. Now I begin my over under half hitches. There's my over. Now I need my under. The power of this knot, well, there are a lot of good things about this knot. Number one is, like I said, it goes 3 times through the eye of the swivel. But number two, the stress is really spread out throughout the knot. So it's very strong. It's very, very strong. And most importantly, it lasts a long time. It You can fight a lot of fish on this knot without destroying the line. Yeah, a lot of failures that are potential from any time you put a swivel on a line, from the swivel, the metal of the swivel wearing through the nylon monofilament. Okay, that's usually not a good thing. So there, normally I do the chain. If I tie a TN knot for slow jigging, I do the chain knot of half hitches at least 1.5 to 2 centimeters. In this case, I don't need it. I just need a few to hold the knot down. Okay, now from there, I am going to tie a surgeon's loop. Okay, surgeon's loop here. Okay, so all I'm doing is taking this line from the swivel, okay, treating it as a loop, double line here, okay, 1, 2. Double overhand knot. Okay. Gonna tie a short loop here. Okay. Now I'm gonna tie the T knot. This knot here from the surgeon's knot is going to be part of the T knot. Watch. Basically, I'm just going to tie a dropper loop here. Okay, let me get this up here so I have a little bit more play. Okay. Tying a dropper loop here. Okay. From here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take the swivel through. Okay, and I'll be demonstrating these knots in Dacron in just a second. So if you're missing this, no worries. Okay, pull the knot through. Okay, so it's resting on top of this dropper loop mess of monofilament here, and tighten that up, make sure everything stays in place. Okay, there. Now you have the guts of this. Okay, you have the T knot here formed between the surgeon's knot and the loop knot. Okay, you can see it better against my shirt. And then you have the loop going to the swivel. Okay, now right now that looks pretty ugly, I admit. Let's get the stiffening line. This is what it's for. Okay, now this one, I use a length, basically my wingspan. Okay, this one, we're going to tie an overhand knot to start. And like I said, this is not load bearing. So you don't have to worry about, you do not have to worry at all about an overhand knot weakening this, because it's not going to bear any load from the fish, from the weight, anything. This is just to stiffen up the part of this spreader holding your rig out. Okay, I have the middle here, found here. Okay, now all I did for that is I tied an overhand knot, put 2 fingers in to keep some space, and I just try to, there, I match the 2 ends. Okay, and once I match those 2 ends, I know this is basically the middle here. Okay, so you can see my loop there. Now, from there, I am going to put this swivel from my leader through. Okay, so here's my stiffening line, here's my swivel. Go through and close that overhand knot. Now when you close this, you want to close it over the last half hitch you tied in the TN knot. Okay, and by doing that, you get a nice clean transition from your TN knot into your stiffening line. Now, is that necessary? Is that important? No, but I like to get the most benefit out of the functionality of each knot. So you can see here, I put my stiffening line, this 30-pound monofilament, I tighten the knot over the last half hitch in here. Okay, now I'm going to begin a butterfly knot, and this one I'm going to show you in the Dacron as well. Okay, butterfly knots are incredibly cool, and they are vital to this system. This is not something I made up. I learned this from other people. Okay, so the butterfly knot, let me get it started first, and then I can show you a little better after once it's started. Okay, let me get that up a little higher. Butterfly knots are basically just a braid. You're braiding, somewhat braiding this thickening line, this stiffening line. Okay, let me get this down here. That should, there we go. Okay, and so you basically tie this stiffening line in butterfly knots along this area all the way until the T knot, until it looks like so. Okay, you can see here it's now holding this whole thing stiff. Okay, once you finish all the butterfly knots down to the base, then you have to finish it. Okay, now once you hit the T knot with your stiffening lines, your 30-pound mono, okay, you don't continue with the butterfly knot all the way over the surgeon's knot and all of that. Start doing half hitches. Let me show you. From here, I'm going to take, this is my 30-pound mono here, okay? I'm going to take the 30-pound mono and just start doing half hitches. Half hitch this one and make sure it stays on the surgeon's loop, surgeon's knot, sorry. Okay. And then I do okay, so that one is on the main stem here of the surgeon's knot. Now the next one I'm going to tie is on the dropper loop knot here on the side. Okay, so now I'm going to go around this main leader line here. I'm not going around here on the stiffening side anymore. Okay, single half hitch around here. Okay, I'm pulling it down over the dropper loop knot, and it's important not to hit the main leader line with the first half hitch. Okay, oop, see, I yanked too hard, it went over. You want to keep it on the surgeon's knot, the first one. Okay, that cut in, good. Second one, now we tie directly onto the leader. So the first knots, when you start tying half hitches, stay on the main knots, like the dropper loop knot, the surgeon knot, stay on those at first. Okay, until your half hitches are established, then you go to the main leader line. Okay, and once you start doing that, here, I'm just going to tie a bunch of half hitches. You'll see that this thing will start to rotate a little bit. You'll see a spiral developing from these half hitches. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, I think they're elegant, but they serve also as additional stiffening to this whole system. Okay, and by stiffening, it helps prevent tangles even more. So you can see I'm building up one side. Okay, here we go. And if I can show a close-up, let's see if the camera will catch this. Okay, you can see the spiral starting here on the side. Okay, and I'll take that all the way out. Pretty far. I like to get about 3 or 4 spirals going, and you finish it off with a locking knot. Okay, for those not familiar with the locking knot, if you tied FG knots, you're familiar with the lock knot, but I'll show it to you here anyway in just a second. Okay, almost there, just 1 or 2 more here. Get the spiral out to really stiffen this up. You want this to be pretty decent length to help hold the sides nice and stiff when your lines are going down, to help prevent tangles. Okay, now I'm going to tie in the lock knot. Lock knot is simple. It's basically a triple overhand knot. Okay, so we have all of this. Okay, here's my main leader. This is my 30-pound stiffening line. Okay, so you begin it like a half hitch. Just going to make a loop here. Okay, and now I'm going to take this tag in here, and I'm going to go around this main leader line here 3 times. Okay, I'm coming from behind towards me, making a loop here, coming over the line, going around the main 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can see that. Okay, and I'm just going to gently pull that straight to the half hitches. Pull it tight, and there you can see it's finished. I just trimmed this tag and we're done. Okay, now let me show you all these knots with the background so it's easier for you to see. Okay, for demonstration purpose, I'm going to use this big, huge swivel. Okay, first, the TN knot. How to tie this. Go through the swivel eye once, twice, and then 3 times. Okay, so you can see I've gone through this swivel, the eye 3 times. Okay, now when you tie it with monofilament, try not to have the lines cross. Okay, so after that, okay, cinch it up a little bit. You're going to take your tag end, okay, come around, and you're going to go through all these loops, okay, with the tag. You can see the tag coming through all those loops. Okay, I'm going to show you from this angle as well, coming through all those loops. Okay, I'm going to pull that. Now, you need something to hold the swivel. You need something to hold the tag and the main. And you slowly cinch that up. Okay, in Dacron, I'm going to have to do things a little different because it doesn't slide as well. Okay, there we go. Now, that is the beginning of the TN knot. You see, 3 times through. Okay, this holds the swivel really tight, really secure. One of the problems with loop knots on swivels is the swivel can still move and slowly wear away at the mono. This doesn't move. Okay, then we do our half hitches. Okay, the over, under. Okay, now what about the stiffening line and the, how do you say, the butterfly knots? Okay, here I'm going to cut another piece here. Let's see if I can work this one out. Is this coming out? Okay, I'll just cut a piece here. Always keep cutters at your workbench. Okay, safety first. Now, I'm going to use this as a stiffening line just for demonstration purpose. Like the real one, tie the loop knot, try to find the true middle. Okay, and I'm going to take that swivel. Okay, we're going to have the swivel go through the loop. Okay, so we have a loop here. We're going to stick the swivel right through the middle. Okay, show you from this. Oh, here's better. From here, straight through. Okay, then we're going to tighten down the overhand knot here. Okay, over the last half hitch. Now, the butterfly knot. Okay, for a butterfly knot, okay, thing is, you're always going to have on a butterfly knot one side that is coming out of a loop and one side that's coming out of just line laying over it. Okay, let me show you what I mean here. Okay, I started the butterfly knot here. Okay, let me see if I can point this out to you. Here, if you can see this side right here is coming out of a loop. It's what we call a downward tag. So you look at it, okay, there's a loop and it's falling downwards. You come to this other side, there's kind of a loop also. Actually, do I have this reversed? Yeah, I have this reversed. Here we go. This is the loop. Here, get that to focus. Here's the loop, okay, and here's the downward tag coming down. On this other side, it's not really loop. It's basically just a crossed line. The lines are crossing. This one is an actual loop with a downward tag. Okay, let's do another one, and you'll see that right away. So the one with the one that's down from the loop, that one you're going to take it up. Okay, you're going to cross it over, and when you cross it over, you're going to make a loop here. Okay, again, start with a downward tag, cross it over the top of everything. Okay, and then you take the other tag end. Okay, you're going to run it over the downward tag, come underneath, and come through that loop you made. Let me show you again. Downward tag, over, over. Okay, upward tag. You take it over the downward tag that's here. Okay, I know this is seeming confusing. Downward tag over the main. Upward tag over the downward tag, under the main, and through the loop of the downward tag. Pull tight. And every time you tie this, the downward tag will be on the opposite side. So now the downward tag's on this side. Take it over the main, under the upward tag. Upward tag, you take it under the main and into the loop of the downward tag. And so you should see this double loop here like this, that you pull tight. Okay, a few more of these, you guys will really get this. Okay, here's the downward tag. You see that loop right here? Okay, I don't know if you can see that, the loop right here, and my tag coming off. Okay, let's get this closer. Okay, you can see that loop there, and a downward tag here. Here's my upward tag. Okay, so the downward tag comes over the mains. Okay, the upward tag goes over this downward tag over here, under the mains. My fingers are getting in the way, aren't they? Okay, so I'm going to try to tie this backwards so you guys can see this. Downward tag comes over the mains. Okay, the upward tag goes behind the mains, and comes through the loop of the downward tag, and you end up with that nice circle. Okay, that's the circle you want to see. Then you pull that tight. Okay, these are the butterfly knots, and here you can clearly see there's a there's a tight loop here. There it's just a cross line. Okay, so that's that part. Now surgeon's knot that I was talking about earlier, that's really simple. That's just let me cut this off. Okay, all that is, oh, I cut the wrong line, but that's how we learn. Double line. Okay, you have a double line here. Yeah, double line. And basically with that you're going to start an overhand knot. One overhand knot. Okay, and then one more. Go through one more time. Voila, and you pull that tight. That is the surgeon's loop knot. Okay, so those are all the knots needed for this. And when you are finished with this, you should end up, let me see if I can find my finished one. There we go. You should end up like this. Okay, swivel on one end, the stiffening line all the way to the T knot here. Okay, now that side that I pulled off, neck length and everything, okay, I tie another surgeon's knot here. Okay, so I do a loop-to-loop connection to my shock leader. Then here, to finish it off, just about to my elbow, okay, I tie another surgeon's loop with a cheap snap swivel to my weight, because that is not going to bear any load at all. Okay, it just has to carry my weight. Okay, it bears some load, but if I snag, I want to be able to lose my weight and keep all of this, including my hook and stuff, so I spend more time fishing, less time retying. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and wish you guys good fishing.